Imagine watching your child grow up, being really proud of watching them turn into a wonderful person that contributes greatly to society, only to see your child get into its mid-20s and then fall in with the wrong crowd and start to become selfish and sometimes corrupt and even perform illegal acts. This is what happened to the technological child of Sir Tim Berners-Lee. Now, a few days ago, we quietly witnessed the 35th birthday of the World Wide Web. Can you imagine that only 35 years ago there were no websites at all? Sir Tim Berners-Lee was in Switzerland at the CERN Institute on his flashy computer. A computer, by the way, that was created by none other than Steve Jobs' new company, Next. Tim coded a platform which he hoped to realise his online vision and encourage the 3 C's, as he called it: collaboration, compassion, and creativity. From his Next Station computer at CERN, he hoped that his platform would be decentralized in a way that saw no greedy corporations stifling the potential for this creativity. To realise this, he would use an approach led by technology such as hyperlinking. It would take you from one area of interest to the next. This technology would be comprised of his new easy-to-use hyperlinking language, which was to be called Hypertext Markup Language. And now, as a side, hypertext wasn't created by Tim Berners-Lee, it'd been around for a wee while before then. But anyway, he also created a client-server protocol. We got to know this as Hypertext Transfer Protocol, or HTTP. Tim Berners-Lee could not have foreseen how the World Wide Web would shake out in the years to follow, but he has recently written a short 35th birthday greeting to the technology that he created in 1989. Now, most of the time when we wish our children a happy birthday, it's full of happiness and delight in their achievements. However, Berners-Lee has a number of concerns about his technological offspring in his ode to the web, and I believe, unfortunately, that these findings are not misplaced. Berners-Lee wrote that the web started off creating small, localized communities, providing individual empowerment and fostering huge value. However, his child has become a bit wayward in the last decade or so. On the 13th of March, he wrote that instead of embodying these original values, the modern web has played a part in eroding them. The centralization of web-based platforms, the web now serves as the foundational layer of our online ecosystem, an ecosystem that is now reshaping the geopolitical landscape, driving economic shifts, and influencing the lives of the people around the world. This is what he said on the 13th of March. Berners-Lee continues to say that he is concerned about how the power concentration contradicts the decentralized spirit that he originally envisioned, fighting to keep users hooked on one platform to optimize profit through passive observation of content and frivolous abuse of one's privacy. This is all pretty heavy stuff. I can't help but feel a little bit sorry for Sir Berners-Lee, his child going so wayward. The web was brought into this world as a force for good, to grow communities, a way to disseminate knowledge in a way that would educate the masses so that powerful corporations and governments could be kept in check, rather than grow negatively. Once the governments and corporations realised how it could be weaponised as a tool of greed and at worst misinformation, I guess all bets were off. Berners-Lee also says that there has been a lack of governance and leadership to correct for the misuse of the web, and offers options to reform the current system, referring to the current methods of selfish data silos. He mentions Blue Sky, Mastodon, and GitHub as some of the technological platforms to offer change, but he does fall short a little of saying how governance and leadership might actually affect the change, leading to the global adoption of these technologies. People are lazy after all, and once platforms like Facebook and Google have captured our needs in greedy ways, these platforms are established in people's day-to-day lives. Pulling people out of this comfort zone into something new is a pretty hard ask. So how do we achieve this paradigm shift towards bringing back the web? Berners-Lee cites a number of resources that have also noticed that the web's future is not as rosy as it once was. For example, the German and French governments have endorsed an agreement called Contract for the Web, to which Wikimedia, the Web Foundation, and interestingly, but also potentially alarmingly due to its conflict of interest, Google and Microsoft are also involved in the writing of the contract. Since its drafting, over 80 signatories debated and negotiated the commitments for the full contract. The goal is to integrate its 9 principles into forums such as the United Nations and national laws and regulations. Berners-Lee also cites the SOLID protocol, a specification to provide everyone with their own personal online data store, pods. A pod lets individuals and groups store their data securely in decentralized data stores. Pods are like secure web servers for data. When data is stored in a pod, its owners control which people and applications can access it. Finally, he cites the foundation that he co-founded with Rosemary Leith, which he simply calls the Web Foundation. The tagline for the foundation states that they fight for the web we want, continuing, everyone should have access to a safe and empowering web. In conclusion, if you spend enough time thinking about where the web is today, 35 years on since its birth, and you may well agree with Berners-Lee. The benefits of the web are starting to become outweighed by the risks to our privacy, our democracy, our health, and our security. As a macro example, we need only look to the clever use, or is that abuse, of social media and the various data warehousing hangers-on. Yes, I'm thinking about you, Facebook and Cambridge Analytica, to see how the web shaped the narrative of an entire election campaign. It used our personal, and some would say private data against us to sway our voting decisions in a targeted way like no other has ever done before. If you can remember a time where we used to use the web as a place of expression of oneself, of fun, of experimentation, and of sharing without fear of corporate assimilation, then you can probably understand why it's worth fighting to take back the web.